If you could have any job, what would it be?
I want to design handbags and accessories. I've considered designing clothes, but I think accessories is my real passion.
What was your childhood dream?
I'm a huge Disney fan. When I was growing up, all I ever wanted to do was date a prince and live happily ever after. Then I grew up, and I realized how movies.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Shape-shifting. If I could shape-shift, I wouldn't have to work out and watch what I eat every single day. And I can still have this figure.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Start acting and modeling earlier. I was 9 years old when I started. Other girls had a huge head start on me by then, so I had to play catch up.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Any superpower? You know, I'd have to go with Mr. Mixelplix's magic. Now, it might be a deep cut for some people. He's great. He's an imp from the fifth dimension, DC Comics, and he's part of the Rogues Gallery of Superman. And if you can mess with just like that, he's a wily and weird. But his one weakness is he can wind up in prison in the fifth dimension if he says his own name backwards. But come to think of it, I've never said my own name backwards, so yeah, should be fine. Yeah, let's definitely go with Mixelplix.
What do you do for a living?
I'm going to ask that you reserve judgment when I tell you that I am an auditor for the IRS. Now, I know a lot of people think that we are inherently evil, that we are monsters coming to take your money. No, okay? We are not evil. We're not going around trying to harass people. We don't want to screw over the little guy. And here's the thing. If you make an honest mistake on your taxes, we will send you a notice about it and ask you to settle the difference. Or if we find that you didn't include a form, a W-2 or something, we're good. Now, if you are some rich person who's intentionally trying to game the system for your personal gain, then that might be an issue. Those are the people that get audited. The big muckety mucks who are who are just greedy. Then we will come after you.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
If I was going to be stranded on a desert island with one person, who would I pick? It's not an easy question. I have 7 billion choices. Okay. Yep. So a lot of people are probably going to pick someone who's like really attractive or like a great conversationalist, very entertaining. I'm going to pick Vladimir Putin. I'm a fan. But if I was on that island and Putin just magically appears there? That means I've taken the biggest despot in the world, the most evil person walking the earth today, and he's out of circulation. I don't think in good conscience I could pass up that choice. It's going to do so much good for so many people. And then it's me, it's him, and if he wants to annex something, he'd have to annex my supply of coconuts. That's it. The people of Ukraine are okay. No World War III. No regrets. It's Putin. Let's go.
If you could have any job, what would it be?
If I could have any job, I'd like to be the continuity supervisor on any Star Trek TV show. There are so many mistakes that would have been so easy to fix if only someone caught them in time. I'd love to be that someone.
You'd love to be that someone? Let me tell you why there's mistakes. When you're working 17 to 22 hours a day, sometimes people mess up on continuity, all right? Relax. Just relax.
I just want to say I'm so sorry, because in the moment when I was thinking about my dream job, I literally forgot that you were on Star Trek, and you have boldly gone where no man has gone before. So thank you for your service, and I am sorry for being so nitpicky.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
What advice would I give to my younger self? Okay, first, I would make sure to tell myself to buy stock in Microsoft, Apple, and Netflix, and hold on to it until at least 2019. Don't sell it until 2019. And then I would actually tell myself to start playing chess early and often, because I was late to the game, and I love chess, and I'm pretty good at it. Be truly exceptional at chess. And I really believe that if I did start young, I could have been one of the greats, because I see everything it takes to be exceptional. Yeah, I would tell myself to start playing chess early. Join the chess club.
What do you do for a living?
I escaped the rat race a few years ago. I cut all my expenses drastically, so now I only need a few $100 a month to survive. I deliver food through those gig apps, but only 2 or 3 orders per day, just enough to get by. I find if I make more money than I need, I just end up buying stuff that clutters my life.
If you could have any job, what would it be?
I don't want any job. The most valuable thing I have is my free time, and I am not willing to sell that time for an hourly wage.
What was your childhood dream?
To be a corporate executive live in a big house and make a six-figure salary. When I got older, I realized that a job like that would take up almost all my free time, and then taking care of a house of that size would take up the little bit of time I had left. Now that dream sounds like a nightmare to me.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Drop out of school. A high school diploma is useless as an adult, and college is a waste of money. Just enjoy your childhood. You only get one.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
I know the standard answer is to name someone really hot who you want to sleep with, but that's actually pretty cruel. You're basically condemning the person you picked to be stranded on a deserted island. That's a pretty awful thing to do to someone. I'd pick no one. I'd be stuck on the island by myself.
That's a lie.
This is embarrassing. Forgot I was hooked up to a lie detector. I'd pick Chris Hemsworth. Sorry, Chris.
What do you do for a living?
I have a small stand in Hollywood where I read people's fortunes from tarot cards. Now, tarot cards don't actually predict the future, but most people don't know that. Most fortune tellers will also keep their predictions vague so they can't get caught when they're lying. I don't do that. I tell all of my customers that they're going to die in a horrific car crash about 2 years out from the day they come see me. I love seeing their reactions. Plus, the really stupid ones pay for longer sessions so they can ask me a bunch of follow-up questions.
What was your childhood dream?
I've always wanted to be possessed by a demon. That's still my dream. Maybe one day I can make it happen.
If you could have any job, what would it be?
Supreme ruler of Earth. You said any job. Who wouldn't want to rule Earth? If anybody says anything else, they're lying, and their lie detector should go off. Totalitarianism can be a very effective form of government with the right ruler. Look at Vlad the Impaler. Sure, he has his critics. Some have said his methods were too harsh. But look at his empire and how smoothly it was run. Hardly any crime. I could do that. I could be the next Vlad the Impaler.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't ever join a witch coven. It'll seem like a good idea at the time. But the people calling themselves witches these days, they aren't practicing real witchcraft. They're such a disappointment.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
necromancy. Anyone can take a living person, turn them into a dead one. To take a dead one, turn them back into a living one, that would really be something. Just imagine, if you really hated somebody, you could kill them, bring them back, kill them again, bring them back, kill them again. And then they'd have to live with the anticipation, knowing that eventually you're going to find them. They just don't know when. They don't know how. Plus, having your own legion of the undead would be pretty useful.
What were you like as a child?
I was super busy as a kid. I couldn't decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, so my parents made sure I was ready for anything. I took singing lessons, acting lessons, modeling lessons. You could say I got a really well-rounded education, so I'm ready for any job at this point.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by placebos. Are you a hypochondriac? Ask your doctor if placebos are right for you. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Lilith. Please keep in mind that this was not my decision. Let's start round 4. What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Prima Cinema. It's this service where you can watch a new movie at home the day it's released in theaters. I love watching movies, and I have a home theater, so why wouldn't I use it?
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I always return wallets when I find them. Every time. It's the right thing to do.
What is the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I sorta stole someone's boyfriend once. Well, it wasn't her boyfriend. My friend Brooke had a really big crush on this musician, and I told her to DM him, but she was too nervous to, so I DM'd him for her. He wasn't interested in her, so he ended up asking me out, and we dated for a bit. I can tell it made my friend a little uncomfortable, so that was one of the reasons why I broke up with him.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who do not have time to get off the tracks. If you continue forward, you will run over all 5 and they will die. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only 1 person on it. If you choose to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the 1 person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
I don't know anything about trolleys, but if I had a job driving one, I'm sure that they would teach me how to handle that situation in trolley school.
What is your biggest fear?
Getting a pimple. I've known people who have had one and they say it's awful. That's why I do a strict regimen of cleansing, toning, and moisturizing to make sure I don't get one. I heard it can happen to anyone.
What's your biggest fear?
Okay, my biggest fear, and this might be uncommon, but I am afraid of things that can't really happen, or things that are like an optical illusion but aren't possible in real life. So for example, M.C. Escher paintings, like a staircase that starts nowhere and leads to nowhere, and walls and architecture that are not possible in real life, or opening a door and a room is upside down, or move through space and do not abide by the laws of physics. Because I'm a logical person, I'm trying to wrap my head around these things, and because I can't get a toehold in logic into how that setup is occurring, I lose my bearings. And that is my biggest fear.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Yeah, my most embarrassing guilty pleasure, I like to go back and rewatch the cartoons from my childhood. I don't do it all the time, but when I think of one and I haven't seen it in a while, I'll look it up, I'll see where it's streaming or where I can find it, and then I will watch the crap out of it from front to back and relive my childhood a little bit. Maybe take out some of my old action figures. Yeah, that is an embarrassing guilty pleasure.
What is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret. Okay. Years ago, I used to work at a video store. Back in the day and age where they actually had video stores, where you didn't have everything at your fingertips streaming. And I worked with this girl named Rebecca, and we got along so good. We were jokey, we had banter, but the thing I was oblivious to at the time was that she was flirting with me. Like, she was into me. And the crazy thing is, I had a crush on her, but I was in the dark to her feelings about me, but now, years later, I can think back. I'm like, oh yeah, she was totally flirting with me. How did I miss that? Nothing happened. And that is a major regret. I might take that one to my grave.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. Well, my most controversial / unpopular opinion, a lot of people say that it's pretty bogus that Superman just puts on a pair of glasses and he becomes Clark Kent and no one knows who he is. No one can recognize him. I actually think that checks out. See, I've thought about this a lot. Now, if there's this hero and then you see someone who's kind of your normal neighbor, you wouldn't associate that. Like, your mind wouldn't go there. So, like, here's an example. Let's say you have a neighbor who looks exactly like Barack Obama, but his hair is a little different, and he wears glasses, and he's got a normal job. Let's say he works at a gas station, and you wouldn't say, my neighbor, James, who works at the gas station, has glasses, is ex-president of the United States, Barack Obama. You'd say, oh, that guy kind of looks like Barack Obama, but it's not Barack Obama. Same thing. You wouldn't say, oh, Clark, who is a cub reporter for the Daily Planet, he can't be Superman. He's a bumbling goof. He slightly looks like Superman. Remember, Clark is uncoordinated. Clark is bad at life. Make that leap. I think it would totally work. Unpopular opinion, and I stand by it.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
Oh, yeah. I got an embarrassing memory. My most embarrassing memory there for summer afternoons, pool parties. So I was in the pool this one time with my dad, and I told him I had to pee. And he told me, just go in the pool. That's what everyone does. So again, I was really young. This was probably right before kindergarten. And I peed in the pool and it was fine. So that became a normal thing. I would go, if I was in the pool, I would pee in the pool. Well, one summer, again, I was very young, maybe kindergarten. There was a big pool party. It was a birthday. Everyone was there from my class, the neighbors, and I had to go. I wasn't in the pool. I was standing right outside the pool, and I figured, oh, if I have to go, just go in the pool. And I stood there and peed into the pool. I quickly learned that that was wrong. Everyone was horrified. They cleared out the pool. Party was almost over. It was like I ruined the birthday. And let's see, if that was kindergarten, almost until high school, yeah, I was the pool peer. Not my proudest moment.
What is your biggest fear?
Global warming and pollution. Humans are killing this planet. Nature doesn't fight back, so humans are the only ones who can save the planet, but we're the ones it needs saving from. So the Earth is pretty much doomed.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Chlorokinesis. It's the power Swamp Thing has that lets him be one with plant life. I'd love to be able to communicate with nature on its own level. Plus, if I had a power like that, I'd really be able to help save the planet.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I would return it, but I wouldn't be doing the owner a favor by doing so. People are obsessed with money and credit cards. They think money will buy them the freedom to enjoy life. Really, the quest to acquire wealth just makes you a slave to your employer. Still, it's their wallet, so of course I'd return it.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Walking naked through the woods. I'm much more comfortable around trees and flowers than I am around people.
What's the worst way you've betrayed a friend?
I gave a lot of my friends chlamydia. In fairness, some of them probably had it already. We're all very open about our sexuality. That's just the type of people I vibe with.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by the letter K. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Sam.
You know, coming in, I knew I had a 1 in 6 chance. Not a bad chance, but not perfect. So I'm not surprised I have to go home.
It's now time for our final round. What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
I used to have steaks flown in from this place that I love in France. I stopped when I found out it was illegal to import meats. I don't know how serious of a crime that is, but I'm glad I never found out the hard way.
What is your biggest regret?
I once turned down a modeling job because I would have had to go to Milan for 4 weeks. I was in high school at the time, so I might have had to repeat a year. In hindsight, it was a very famous photographer, so it would have helped my modeling career. I should have gone.
What is your favorite holiday?
My birthday falls on Christmas, so I get double presents every year. What can compete with that?
What do you do for a living?
I'm an Instagram model. I still live with my parents, but I can move out if I wanted to. Our house is so big that I feel like it would be a waste to move out. We have so many empty rooms, I'm not even sure if I've seen them all.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
I don't have the skills to survive on an island, so it would probably have to be some guy who can take care of me. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone, but I'm sure if I posted on Instagram, I would have some very qualified volunteers.
Have you ever cheated on anyone?
Yes and no. No, not really. I don't believe in monogamy. I would never have a one-on-one relationship. I do mess around with multiple partners, but they all know that we're in an open relationship, so it's not cheating. They're all allowed to have multiple partners too, and most of them do. Even saying that they're allowed to have multiple partners sounds wrong to me. I just don't understand monogamy. How can you tell another person they aren't allowed to do things that make them happy? That just seems so controlling to me. I could never do that to someone or let someone do that to me.
What is your most unusual talent?
I know how to survive in the wilderness. I can tell what's edible. I can build a shelter and a fire. I can clean water in general. I don't like being dependent on money or on society, so I learned how to get by on my own.
If you could have any superpower, what would you choose?
Chlorokinesis. It's the power Swamp Thing has that lets him be one with plant life. I'd love to be able to communicate with nature on its own level. Plus, if I had a power like that, I'd really be able to help save the planet.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I came across a small group of people protesting outside a chemical plant, and I got excited and I called all of my friends, and we all joined in to show our support. Chemical plants are always terrible for the environment, so we were more than happy to be a part of the protest. But as it turned out, it wasn't a protest at all. It was a picket line. The plant was temporarily shut down while all the workers were on strike, and all of us extra people showing up helped convince management to give in to their demands and end the strike. We were trying to get the place shut down, but instead we got them to reopen it earlier than they otherwise would have. So, yeah.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Owning pets is wrong and should be illegal. If your dog or cat isn't free to come and go as they please, they're not your pet, they're your prisoner.
You're the conductor on a runaway trolley. There are 5 people ahead of you on the tracks who cannot get off the tracks in time. If you continue forward, you will run over and kill all 5 of them. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can change to an alternate track where there is only one person on it. If you decide to change tracks, the 5 people on the first track will live, but the one person on the alternate track will be run over and die. Do you change tracks?
I change tracks and hit the one person. The only argument I can see for staying on the current track is that I might feel guilty if I actively made a decision that killed one person. But one person dying and me feeling guilty about it certainly isn't as bad as 5 people dying.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Vegas Tales, the full-motion video game from the makers of Truth. A wealthy resort owner is dying and needs you to help decide who should inherit his estate. You'll be interviewing some over-the-top characters and helping choose who will become extremely wealthy. Be careful, as there may be more to some than meets the eye. Vegas Tales is available now on your favorite gaming platform. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The $1 million prize is going to Alexis.
Oh my God. You guys were such a great audience. Thank you so much for voting for me. I love you all.